judges are ready. The fighters are ready. The boxing world is ready.
The fight starts now.
Let's go.
How do you like it? Close the show.
So aggressive, so focused.
It all comes down to this. Press conference live on DAZN.
Welcome to New York City, where July 12th, Ring Magazine presents a double main event. Shakur Stevenson versus William for the WBC lightweight title.
And Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Shiraz in a WBC super middleweight title eliminator. It will be shown live and exclusively on DAZN. Hello, everyone. My name is Wade Plemons, and I will be your host for today's press conference for a historic card that will emanate from the Louis Armstrong Stadium on July 12th. But today, we are at the Palladium in New York City for the press conference for that double main event. Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Shiraz and Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. And I'm probably the least important person on stage, so I'll introduce the important people now. To my right, representing the Ring Magazine, it is the COO, Versace himself, Rick Reno. Also representing the Ring Magazine, it's Ish Henson. To his left is the chairman. By the way, just got in. I saw you sneak in here, Eddie. Just got in. The chairman of Matchroom Sport, Eddie Hearn. All the way down on the end, down there, is Spencer Brown, who represents Gold Star Promotions. And today will represent Hamzah Shiraz. We have a representative from Golden Boy Promotions, the president, Eric Gomez. And all the way down to the right, we have a representative for Edgar Berlanga, Keith Connolly. Today's press conference is a historic one. This card is an historic one. Before we get to our fighters in our double main event, I want to make sure I tell you guys about the undercard. It includes Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias for the WBC Super Lightweight Championship of the World. Also on this card, we have David Morrell taking on Iman Kataev in a light heavyweight matchup. And the returning prospect from the Ring Magazine, Mr. Rito Susumi, will also be on this card. But let's get to the real reason we're here. The fighters that are going to be entering the ring on July 12th. Double main event starting with our first fighter welcoming to the stage all the way from San Mateo Atenco, Mexico. He is 33-0 with 27 knockouts. It is William El Camarón Zepeda. William should be joining us shortly here. Here he is. It's a long walk from the locker rooms. Come on through, William. Give it up. Next, we have a three-division world champion, former Olympic silver medalist, now the sitting WBC lightweight champion of the world. He is 23-0 with 11 knockouts, hailing from the Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shakur Stevenson. And in our second main event, like I said, double main event here, folks, we have a super middleweight matchup for a WBC title eliminator. First, let me welcome to the stage from Ilford, Essex, UK, making his debut at 168 pounds. He is 21-0-1 with 17 knockouts. The hard-hitting Hamzah Shiraz. And his opponent from right here in Brooklyn, New York. He is a hard-hitting super middleweight in his own right, with 23 wins, 1 loss, and 18 of those wins by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present the chosen one, Edgar Berlanga. Now that we have everyone accounted for here, I'd like to open up the floor by speaking to some of our panelists, starting with the COO of Ring Magazine, Rick Reno.
First, I want to thank everybody for attending this press conference, and it was our third event. You know, our first card at Tottenham, Eubank Ben, that was about legacy. Our Times Square card, that was about history. And to me, personally, this card is all about action. These are action fights from top to bottom, you know, starting with Edgar Berlanga and Hamzah Sheeraz at super middleweight. This fight could be bombs away from the very first round. There's already a lot of animosity there. I know Edgar's taken some offense. Hamzah's coming to his backyard, looking to springboard off of him into a big fight. Edgar's looking to end it early. I think Hamzah's looking to end this fight by knockout. I really personally don't expect this fight to go to distance. It is going to be fireworks from the first round, in my opinion. And then we have Shakur Stevenson in our other main event, defending his WBC lightweight title against the mandatory challenger, William Zepeda. Shakur, without question, is one of the best pure boxers in the sport. And he's going up against Zepeda, who's an aggressive puncher, guy who knows how to cut off the ring. And unlike other aggressive guys, he's looking to hit anything. He's not a headhunter. He's looking to hit your shoulder, your body, your leg. He just wants to touch something. He thinks there's something that in Shakur that he can exploit. Shakur is confident that there are things in Zepeda that he can exploit. It makes for an interesting fight, and arguably might be the toughest test of Shakur's career. I know Shakur thinks otherwise, and that's what makes it so interesting come fight night. And even with the undercard, Mateus and Puello, Morel and Kataev, these are action fights. You know, a lot of people in the month of July look for July 4th for the fireworks, but this year, July 12th is when the real fireworks are going to happen. Again, I thank everyone for coming, and I turn it back to Wade.
Appreciate that, Rick. Now I'd like to welcome Eric Gomez, the president of Golden Boy Promotions. Eric, talk to me about this historic moment for your fighter, William Zepeda.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh, for putting this together. You know, after the last fight, or last show we did it here in New York, we all need more punches, right? And these are the fighters to do it. You know, you have William Zepeda. His output is incredible. Edgar Berlanga, you know, one of the most exciting fighters in boxing today. And Shakur, obviously. I mean, Shakur is arguably the closest thing to Floyd Mayweather, if not better. If not better. And that's how good he is. So these fighters are great. Shiraz as well. You know, much respect to him. This is a can't miss. It's all action. These fighters are going to come to fight. They want to prove to the fans, to all of the world of boxing that, you know, they're here. They're all action. It's going to be a great show.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Kevin, I'd like to come to you next. Mr. Kevin Conley, or excuse me, Keith, I apologize. Looking over at Kevin in the background over there. Sorry. What's up, Kev? Keith, speak to me about this moment for your fighter, Edgar Berlanga, in his hometown, in his backyard, representing the city of New York under the bright lights on July 12th.
It's a huge fight for Edgar. Anytime Edgar fights in New York, it's a huge event. He's popular here. He always sells out. I think it's going to be bombs away, as Rick said earlier. I don't see this fight going past 5 or 6 rounds. Shiraz is a great fighter, but there's levels to this sport, and he's not on Edgar's level. So I think it's going to be a massacre July 12th. I see a violent knockout coming. It's going to be a great event. I want to thank Ring Magazine for putting this together, obviously His Excellency, and our fight's definitely going to be the fight of the night, and expect an explosive knockout, and this will be a springboard for bigger things for Edgar going forward later in the year.
Well said. Thank you, Keith. Spencer, I know you heard those words over there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I spoke to Keith Connolly earlier in the bar, and he, you know, just to reiterate what he said, that he, you know, Hamzah was only going to go 6 rounds. Look, we're coming into the Lion's Den. He's moved up to 168. He's you know, he's very, very big guy, Berlanga. And he's not going to be easy to beat, but we think with Hamzah Sheeraz, we will win this fight, and we will win it comfortably. Because, you know, everybody thinks after that last fight that we dodged a bullet. But, you know, he broke his hand, he couldn't make the weight, he makes the weight naturally now. He's a 6'4" big man at this weight. So we think that we can definitely win the fight. And we've got to come into the Lion's Den to do it, because this is Berlanga's territory. And we're quite confident, actually.
Thank you, Spencer. And last but not least, Mr. Eddie Hearn, talk to me about this event and just how historic the Ring magazine is making card after card. It's Ring 3. You've seen I guess, the previous two. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, I mean, the first one, April 26th at Spurs, when you're in the UK, people are still talking about that event. They're still going to be talking about it in 10 years' time. And what you're seeing is the third Ring magazine event in the space of just a few weeks, really. And I think this might be the most exciting top to bottom. I mean, I really feel like Morel against Katiev is an incredible fight. For those who don't know Katiev, he just boxed on our Sydney show. Very exciting Chechen fighter, very dangerous. Puello against Matthias, Dalton Smith gets the winner. Edgar Berlanga against Shiraz. Edgar's a fantastic puncher, and Hamzah Sheeraz is going to be very well suited at 168, especially with Andy Lee in the corner now. I think that's going to be a huge addition, one of the best trainers in the world. And then over to the main man, to my left, Shakur Stevenson. And I have to say, you know, the team, Josh Dubin, James Prince, done an incredible job. But people always ask me, coming over from the UK, what's the difference you notice about boxing in America? The man to my left, if he was from the UK, he would be what we call a national treasure. He would be a superstar. And he should be not just a superstar of boxing, but a superstar of American sport. He's 27 years of age. He's a 3-division world champion. And he's never broken sweat. Eric Gomez said it right about comparing him to Floyd Mayweather. I also put him with the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker, all of the greats. This is how good this man is. But for greatness, you need a great opponent. And that is William Zepeda. And this is the fight where Shakur Stevenson will show everybody how great and special he is. I think you're talking about pound for pound, #1 greatness from this man. And the Ring magazine are doing such an incredible job with these cards. But I do have one complaint, just one. Versace, one complaint. I looked at your rankings in the Ring magazine in the lightweight division. Okay, #1, Gervonta Davis. Great fighter, just drew with a super featherweight. Keyshawn Davis, another great fighter. Shakur's friend. Hasn't got the resume to be at #2. This guy's at #3. This is the clearest #1 fighter in the division you could ever see. And I know that you've got special dispensation, not you, Versace, but the committee. The 135-pound belt is vacant right now. This is a belt that should be contested between Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda on July 12th. We'll leave it there. I hope you will consider it with His Excellency, who you guys know the sport inside out. You know how good this man is. And for everybody watching this stream right now, everybody watching around the world, and especially if you're American, understand what you've got here. Absolute greatness of the sport. He's just getting started. And this is a tremendous fight. Zepeda's a great fighter, but you will see why Shakur Stevenson is one of the greatest fighters this country has ever produced.
So, Eddie, are you asking for sanction?
Sorry?
Are you asking for the title to be at stake in this fight?
I am. I'm asking for you to consider it in your noble position.
Well, I will definitely consider it. Talk it over with the committee.
Thank you.
The committee decides it. I don't decide it. You know, it's an independent committee.
Yeah, that's why I asked the committee. And that's the great thing about the Ring magazine.
Well, it's not Eddie. I'll tell you that much.
If it was, he'd already have the belt.
He already have the belt.
Yeah. But this is a you know, you guys have always been fair to consider it, and I think this is I think this is the best fight in the division. You know, this is two tremendous fighters that deserve to be the king of the division, because this is already the king of the division. So if Zepeda was to do something outrageous, I don't know, Shakur was to slip over and break his ankle or something like that, and he won, he should get the belt. But he's the king, and he should be crowned king at Flushing Meadows on July the 12th. Thank you for your consideration, Versace.
It'll be under consideration.
Thank you.
Under consideration. Strong words there from Eddie Hearn, but now let's turn to the fighters themselves, and let's stick with the Shakur and William Zepeda matchup. William, you're fighting for the WBC lightweight belt. I just want to know this opportunity for you, what it means on this card on July 12th.
¿Qué tal?
William, estás peleando por el campeonato mundial del CMB. ¿Qué consideras esta oportunidad para ti?
¿Qué tal? Un gusto. Para mí es un honor estar aquí presente. Muy agradecido con todo mi equipo, con Golden Boy por esta oportunidad, con Shakur también por darnos esta oportunidad de tener una gran pelea. Estoy muy emocionado, muy contento. Esto es respuesta de todo el trabajo que he hecho a lo largo de 16 años. Créanme que voy a aprovechar esta oportunidad porque sé que es la oportunidad de mi vida y pronto, este 12 de julio, en Nueva York, van a conocer a William el Camarón Zepeda.
This is the fruit of 16 years of labor, of working hard every day and answered prayer. This is the opportunity of my life, and I think that July 12th, New York, will know who William Zepeda is.
You heard those words from Eddie Hearn just a second ago that Shakur would have to break his ankle, slip on a banana peel to lose this fight. Do you feel like potentially a lot of the people even in this crowd are overlooking you?
Escuchaste las palabras de Eddie Hearn que dice que la única manera que tú le puedes ganar a Shakur es que se resbale, se quiebre un pie y que no pueda continuar. Y hay mucha gente que piensa lo mismo. ¿Qué es lo que opinas tú?
No, yo me estoy preparando para una gran pelea. Hemos escuchado decir que Shakur se va a parar a pelear. Vamos a ver si es cierto. Y lo importante es brindar una gran exhibición. Yo estoy concentrado en el trabajo que tengo que hacer. Soy consciente de las habilidades de Shakur, pero creo que tengo un gran equipo y estoy haciendo un gran campamento para poder evadir todas sus habilidades de Shakur.
I really don't care what Eddie says. You know, it's me and Shakur in there, and hopefully Shakur does what he says he's going to do, stand there and fight. Just give the fans a great fight, you know, and we're going to prove who's the best July 12th. You know, I know that this is my opportunity, so Shakur says he's going to stand and fight. Let's stand and fight.
So, okay, you guys have talked about it. He's going to stand and fight. But when you watch Shakur fight and the way you fight, obviously it's a boxer-puncher matchup. You're very aggressive. He is very defensively sound, and then his counter-punching is there. How do you expect him to actually fight in this matchup?
Obviamente han hablado y te ha dicho que él se va a parar a pelear contigo, pero es una pelea donde tú eres el agresivo, él es el peleador boxeador. Si tú cómo ves la pelea, si sí se va a parar a pelear o qué es lo que ves en esta pelea tú.
No, ahorita en nuestro campamento estamos haciendo varios planes. Si no nos funciona el plan A, vamos a usar el plan B o el plan C. Estamos muy conscientes y realistas de sí la calidad que tiene Shakur, pero yo también tengo calidad, soy un boxeador inteligente. Muchos peleadores a los que les he ganado me han caracterizado por ser nada más un tiragolpes, pero ya cuando me tienen al frente se dan cuenta que no es en realidad así, sino que también sé usar mi boxeo y sé que Shakur al momento de tenerme enfrente va a sentir también mi agresividad y que también me sé mover.
We know that Shakur is a great fighter. We know the opposition we have in front of us, you know, but we're training for that. We're training. We have a plan A, plan B. A lot of fighters that I fought always think that I'm just a guy that comes and throws punches until they're in the ring with me. You know, Shakur can say he's going to stand and fight with me, but he's going to have to go back to his plan and box at some time too. So we're preparing for everything.
Thank you, William. Shakur, a lot of words been said so far. The plea is stand and fight.
Yeah, I heard that a couple of times. It sounds like that's what they want me to do. So the thing is, I'm coming in there to put on a performance. I'm not focused on doing one thing. I'm not focused on standing there fighting. I'm not focused on boxing. I'm coming in there to put on the best performance of my career. And July 12th, Zepeda is going to remember my name.
With this matchup, I asked him the same question, so I'll ask you. How do you expect him to fight? He's very aggressive. He's a puncher. He's going to throw a lot of output, we all assume, but how do you expect this to go?
I mean, he can't do nothing different. He could sit here and act like, oh, I got a plan B, plan C, plan D, blah, blah, blah. He can't do nothing different. There's one thing that he's coming to do. He's coming in there to throw as many punches as possible, overwhelm me, make me tired, and, try to bully me. And I'm not going to let that happen. So, I don't believe that bullshit you talking about.
Now, when you get in that ring, I think a lot of people expect a lot from you, especially in this matchup. Vegas lines would also agree with me. How do you go out and perform? I've even heard you talking about maybe putting it on him a little differently than you have in the last couple of fights. We saw the Josh Padley fight. We saw what you did there. Am I looking at a different Shakur Stevenson this time around?
Here's the thing, and I want Jacob Panda, his coach, that translated for him. I want him to know that and tell him that too. I'm going to train my ASS off. I'm going to put.
You can say it.
I'm going to train my ass off, and I'm going to put in a lot of work. And come July 12th, he will have the best version of Shakur Stevenson. He will see something different than he ever saw before.
When that fight does happen, the talks of overlooking, it feels like when I get on Twitter, you're beefing with every fighter that's out there. How do you zero in on this moment?
That's just.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Shakur. I have to interrupt you though because this is His Excellency calling me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta answer this. Hello, His Excellency, are you there? Hello?
Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you all and have my partners, Matchroom, Mr. Eddie, Golden Boy, Mr. Gomez, Golden Star, Mr. Spencer, and the team of Berlanga. This card is very important for boxing. You can see this card for the ring number 3. It's no one can accept and protect the result of the card. This is important card in historical place for the first time in boxing ever in the tennis arena. This card have a brilliant fighters. The result of this card will affect our next card. The eye of Shakur is in tank. The eye of Zepeda in big fights in Mexico. The eye of the result of Berlanga and Shiraz is in Canelo. This is big card. This is important card. This will affect boxing. And now, in front of everyone, we are ready. We are ready to do big fights. We have a big card in August. We have a big card in October. I am talking with Matchroom, with Eddie Hearn, to do Boots and to Malivu. We are discussing now for big fights for Garcia and Haney. And let's go back to this card. This card is very important to me. Shakur, Zepeda, Shiraz, Berlanga. The result of this card will affect the future. This is important card and the historical card for the boxing. Shakur, one of the greatest fighter bound now in the world. Shiraz is the ambassador, and Shakur, both of them is the ambassador of Riyadh season. Shiraz is looking to have a big performance in America and watching the result of Crawford and Canelo. Berlanga want to put very big statement in the first card with us. Zepeda have a lot of options. We have the Latinos night. We have a big fight preparing now in Mexico. This is important card. This is important card. And the last request for Mr. Versace, this belt, we change it. We now want the new version, please. Try to have the new version from the factory in England. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you to my partner, Mr. Eddie Hearn, Spencer Brown, Golden Boy, and Berlanga team. Thank you so much.
There he is, folks. His Excellency. HE knows how to make an entrance. He does have my number as well, so that's pretty cool. Shakur, back to you. This moment for you is, you hear everybody talking about it, comparing you to the greats of all time. When you hear that, how does that make you feel?
It's cool, but I don't get too caught up in it. I'm not trying to get caught up into like a trap to where it's like I'm thinking so highly of myself that I'm not going to put in the work for the fight. I'm also know that I'm not sleeping on William Zepeda. I understand that this is a fighter in front of me that been waiting on this opportunity his whole life. I knew Zepeda back when I was like 16, 15 years old, and he was focused then, and I understand right now this is his moment too. So at the end of the day, I gotta go lock in, and I gotta step on him. Man. That's what I'm coming to do.
William, you heard that. He said he's going to step on you. What's your response?
Bueno, pues yo estoy muy concentrado en lo mío. Siempre me he caracterizado por ser un peleador que habla arriba del ring. Esta pelea no es la excepción. Sé que es la pelea de mi vida, la que va a despuntar mi carrera. Yo quiero pasar a la historia en el boxeo mexicano, en el boxeo mundial, y el tener esta pelea contra un gran peleador como Luis Shakur es la que me va a despuntar, y estoy seguro que va a ser una pelea que va a pasar a la historia como la de Madrid Taylor contra Chávez.
I've always been a fighter that's been known to be very disciplined, very focused. This is not the exception. This is the biggest fight of my life, the greatest opportunity that I have. I want to be known as a Mexican legend, not only a Mexican legend, but a legend in the sport of boxing. I look at this fight like a movie, you know, almost like the Mildred Taylor versus Chavez, and I just want that type of fight. I just want to give the fans, what they want.
Ain't not that way?
Hey, Panda, tell him to start speaking English, man. I know he know more English right now, man. You've been around
Que
for
hables
how
más
long
inglés,
now,
cabrón, que tú sabes hablar inglés, dice.
Tell him to talk some English. I know he know English, man.
We'll save it for another time. Last one for you, Shakur. You heard His Excellency on the phone there say, listen, a win here, and he wants to set up the tank fight. I know you're not overlooking William Zepeda, but that's got to be in your mind.
Nah, it can't be. It can't be. Right now, all that's in my mind is July 12th. Of course, I want the tank fight. I've been saying it for years now, but truthfully, if I don't get past Zepeda, there is no tank fight. So Zepeda is first, and I'm coming to there stand on business.
Absolutely. Now let's move to our last billing on the night, the second of our two main events. Under the bright lights, July 12th. Hamzah, I'll start with you. You're making your debut at super middleweight. Before we get there, though, I want to know what you learned in the Adames fight that prepares you for this moment.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty Allah. I'd like to thank my team for getting me here. I'd like to thank His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for giving me the opportunity again. I learned a lot of things. But listen, it's all well and good talking about that. That's the past. That's the past. Listen, we're in New York now. We're here. Everything's about the future. Over here, listen, no dream is big enough. Do you know what I mean? No dream is big enough. So it's all about the future. It's all about July the 12th, and I'm ready.
When you look across the table there, there's already been some personal shots thrown between you and Edgar Berlanga. What's the message to him?
Listen, I'm coming for everything. I feel like this fight, I think for the first time in my career, I'm kind of being underestimated. And I get it because in boxing you're only as good as your last performance. But I'm telling you lot now, July the 12th, when I get the win, the Hamzah Sheeraz hype train is going to be back on again. And listen, we're coming with everything.
You're going into Edgar's backyard. He's even called you soft.
Yep.
So, like you said, there's a lot of things going in his favor here.
Yeah, listen, if I was soft, I wouldn't be going into a fight like this at 168 at a new weight. So I think that ends that there, and July the 12th we'll see what I'm all about.
Both camps have said this fight's probably not going past 6 rounds. Am I safe to say you're predicting a knockout here?
I've learned a lot from my last fight. So like I was talking about, and not just in the fight in the ring, but outside of the ring as well. So if it goes 12 rounds, it goes 12 rounds, but it'll definitely be explosive for sure.
Edgar, like I said, there's been a lot said already. Let me just give you this opportunity to talk to your people here in New York before we get started.
First and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for this opportunity. I want to thank the ring, His Excellency, my team, Keith Conley, Edgar Berlanga, Mark Ferrite. You already know what time it is, man. I'm knocking this motherfucker out. You know,
just like that.
Listen, we in New York. This is my backyard. You know what I'm saying? His manager, that's his manager over there that was talking to you? Yeah, that nigga's tripping. He bugging out. He's saying that Sheeraz gonna knock me out, and not even his own fighter believe that. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, man, we here. You know, he said we overlooking him. I don't overlook no fighter. You know what I'm saying? You see what happened?
Listen, you're already talking about the Canelo
Shut the
fight,
fuck
bro.
up. Shut
You're
up.
already talking about the
listen,
Canelo
you got
fight.
listen.
You're
You gotta give your last fight, bro. You gotta give your last fight. You know that. You lost that shit. Even your trainer knew that you lost the fight, bro.
Listen, we're not talking about the
your
past.
Your trainer even knew you
if
lost the fight,
about the past,
your trainer even knew you lost the fight. And now you picked up Andy Lee, which I knocked his fight out. We went to broke his face, broke everything in his fucking in his face, broke every bone in his face.
You didn't knock him out,
Andy Lee. I will fuck you up and Andy Lee the same night. You heard? I'm dead. And look, Sheeraz, you 4 times. Yeah, we dropped him 4 times. That's worse. So that what? Get the fuck out of here. You crazy. Look. We're gonna put you in a fucking pack, yo. We're gonna sell the Andy Lee pack.
While
over
Edgar
here
puts him in a pack, I'll apologize for the language. Sorry about that. Keep going, Edgar.
Man,
I got to do my job.
Fuck that, yo. We in New York, man.
I hear you.
This is New York. This is my shit.
I hear you. I hear you. No, I hear you.
I was telling Sheeraz this is my shit. You know what I'm saying? Cool. He from London. He coming over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm a superstar, bro. You know what I'm saying? You in the Lions Den. You heard what my man said. We in the Lions Den, man. I don't overlook no fighter, bro. I'm at that elite level already, so I don't overlook no fight. I'm not going in there sleeping on this guy. You know what I'm saying? You see what happened to Munguia. You know what I'm saying? Munguia slept on this guy, got knocked the fuck out. So we not doing that. You feel me? We going in there 100% focused, and we looking to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? I want to break every bone in this nigga's face, and I want to do what I do best, win.
I mean, it's just pure confidence coming out of you right now.
Put on a show. You know, this is entertainment at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we warriors, we gladiators, but this shit is about entertainment. You know what it is. You know, every fight, man, like, you got to turn it up. You know what I'm saying? This is all eyes on us now.
That confidence, are you drawing that from what you've seen from Hamzah Shiraz? Just you as a fighter? Where's it coming from?
I always been like that. Yeah. You seen in the Canelo fight, 12 rounds, toe-to-toe with him. Arm fucked up. Still went out there, did what I did. I was talking shit to Canelo in his face, literally in his face, telling him to suck No,
apologize for the language again there.
No, I'm serious.
No, I'm 100%, yeah.
In front of Jesus. I was telling that in the ring, calling him a bitch. I'm like that. I know I'm like that. At the highest level, 20,000 people, I'm like that. You know what I'm saying? So him coming in my backyard is a big problem.
Hamzah, what do you make of all that talk? I mean, again, it's a lot of personal, a lot of you're soft,
and he know I'm
you're
like
this.
That. He know I'm like that.
In the UK, we'd call him a sausage, and that's exactly what it is.
That's super Mookie.
Any response to being called a sausage, Edgar?
And he's a dick eater. That's what we call in New York.
I shouldn't have asked. Should not have asked.
He got everything handed to him in a silver spoon. Everything he got, he handed to him. You know what I'm saying? We taking that. I came from the dirt, bro. I came from the trenches.
No one's asking you.
In boxing.
It doesn't matter. Listen, July the 12th, me and you're going to be in that ring. Doesn't matter where we come from, bro. Doesn't matter where we come from.
You got a silver spoon in your hand, nigga. You crazy? You got a silver spoon in your hand.
When you look at how...
You should go to acting, bro.
When you look at how Hamzah fights, what are the holes that you do see that you're predicting a knockout?
He's basic, bro. He's a basic fighter. I've seen the best out there, bro. I've been boxing since I was 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still a sponge. But at the end of the day, I got over 20-some years boxing. You know what I'm saying? So what he's going to bring, I already seen that shit. His height don't mean nothing. All that shit don't mean nothing. Now he got Andy Lee in his corner. It's even worse. Because you see what I did to his last fighter.
I don't know if you want to fight Hamzah or Andy Lee at this point.
Yo, Andy, man, you fucked up again, bro. Yo, and I love my Irish people, you heard? I love my Irish people, man, but Andy, you fucked up.
I'm going to ask both of you guys this. I'll start with you, Hamzah. You heard His Excellency talk about a Canelo fight potentially looming. Obviously, Canelo's got work to do, and so do you guys.
He's selling him a dream, bro.
But that challenge, it seems like you welcome all challenges. What would that mean to you?
Like I said, I ain't going to talk about that. I need to smash this guy's face in, and then we can talk about that then.
I'm smashing shit.
Edgar, you've been in there with Canelo. Obviously, the goal is to get back to the top of the division. With a win here, it seems like you would secure that. Would you welcome another fight with Canelo?
Of course, we want that rematch. The reason why I started talking about a rematch was really because the Mexicans is asking for it, bro. Like, I'm in Tampa. There's a whole bunch of Mexicans in Plant City. They're asking for the rematch. His own people's asking for the rematch. So if the people's asking for it, you know what I'm saying, let's get it. I think it was a big fight. I know that, you know, New York was shut down completely. There was block parties. Every bar in New York was shut down. You know what I'm saying? Puerto Rico was shut down. So that's a good sign of a great fight. You know what I'm saying? I gave him 12 rounds, hard. We went in there and with the least amount of experience. You know what I'm saying? I went in there. All the fighters he fought had way more experience than me. Billy Joe Sanders, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys. You know what I'm saying? And I went in there with no experience. But I know I'm that dude. You know what I'm saying? I know what I got. I got that charisma. I got that starting power. I look good, and I fight good.
Obviously, your people coming out. What I want to do now is get some final predictions from all of our fighters on stage before we face you guys off. We'll start with you, William. Massive moment for you. WBC Lightweight Championship.
He already predicted a 10th round knockout.
You heard it there, 10th round knockout. WBC Lightweight Championship on the line. How do you go in on July 12th and get it done?
Tu predicción en esta pelea es la pelea de campeonato mundial del Consejo Mundial de Boxeo. ¿Cómo entras tú a ganarle a Shakur Stevenson esa noche?
No, tengo que usar todas mis herramientas. Lo sigo diciendo, lo sabemos mi equipo, sé yo. Lo tengo muy en mente que tiene muchas cualidades Shakur, pero yo tengo que explotar mis herramientas, no al 100, sino al millón. Tengo herramientas importantes que son las que me van a sacar adelante. No puedo dejar en duda esta victoria. No puedo decir a un round y no quiero dejarle la decisión a los jueces. Yo sé que vengo a Nueva York a triunfar.
I know that I have to prepare 1,000,000% for this fight. This is my biggest fight of my career, the biggest fight of my life. You know, like I've told my team, I can't leave this in the judges' hands. I got to come out here and give everything that I have that's within my heart and try to stop this fight.
Shakur, before I ask for your prediction, I want to know, is the hand okay? We're good?
Yeah, the hand good.
Hand's good?
Not worry about the hands, man.
Okay, so prediction time.
Prediction, I'm going to go out there and do what I do best, win, but in spectacular fashion. So I ain't going to give you a prediction on stoppage, but I'm coming out there to whoop his ass.
Point blank. Hamzah, I'll ask the same question to you, but we're going to start with the hand. Hands are okay? Everything is good? Healed up?
Yeah, everything's
I
all
hope
on point.
so.
Everything's all on point.
I hope so.
And in terms of my prediction for the fight, I go out there for a few jabs, land the right hand straight on his chin and knock him the fuck out.
Fuck out of here, man.
You like that energy, Edgar, huh?
He's smoking a pipe.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know what the reference is. Your prediction for this fight, main event, your backyard, this moment.
He fuck around be the 18th first round knockout.
First round.
First round. He come to fight. If he come to fight and don't run like a bitch, because he got Andy Lee training him, so I already know what type of time Andy Lee's on. He going to be on that boxing shit. You know what I'm saying? He going to be running around the ring like a ballerina. If he comes to fight the first round, I'm knocking him out. Bad, like super bad. I'm knocking him out.
Do you think he stands in the middle with you and fights, as you say, in the first round, or do you think he boxes with you?
I don't know. Let's see, I talked a lot of shit. So,
Bro, how are you talking about boxing when you ran 12 rounds from Canelo?
Shut the fuck up.
You
bro, you gotta give your last fight. You knew you had to give, bro. Your trainer, that's why you fire your trainer. That's why you fire your trainer. You know why you fire your trainer? Because as soon as you lost, your trainer said, as soon as you won, or the draw, the trainer said, he already knew you got your ass whipped, bro. You was in Saudi, you got your ass whipped in your hometown. That's embarrassing, bro. You think you're gonna come to my shit over here? This is my shit. You think you're gonna come over here and fuck with me? You crazy? You're gonna have to kill me, bro.
Any last?
Literally, like, you're gonna have to kill me. You and Andy Lee gonna have to jump in the ring, nigga. You crazy?
I think we'll leave it there. I think the best words have been said so far. So thank you all for coming out to our press conference. Remember, guys, July 12th, historic card from Louis Armstrong Stadium. Yeah, go ahead. Give it up. Give it up one time. Thank you.
Y'all can talk shit, too. Y'all can talk shit. CS is in the building. Terror Squad, Fat Joe. You know what I'm saying? They in the building. Shout out to Pistol Pete. Shout out to my team, man. You know what I'm saying? The family.
Shout out to everybody. Yeah. Once again, folks, Do not miss out on this card. We have a stacked double main event, of course, but our undercard is also stacked. Thank you to His Excellency, to the Ring Magazine. We're going to get these guys faced off really quick. Get them right here. Get your cameras ready. But that is our press conference. I'm Wade Plemons. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, there you have it. Entertaining press conference. It's going down July 12th in New York City in this star-studded card, Barack. I mean, Edgar brought the energy today for sure, and we know he brings that often. But what's at stake is what's important. The Shakur Zepeda card, obviously highly anticipated. Before we even get into the Zepeda card, let's go right into what Edgar's energy and what he's bringing to Hamzah.
First of all, I want to say I'm glad that they're having it in Queens. We're going to have a lot of fans there. That's what I want to see. You got to talk about Edgar because he always brings the energy. He always brings the bravado. Look at him, holding his change right now. But this man right here, Hamzah Sheeraz, he's determined. He's serious. Edgar got the gun, the imaginary gun out. Because he throws those kind of bombs. He throws bullets. You know, so I like the confidence, but I like that he's fighting somebody who's not showing any kind of fear. And look how big he is.
Also very confident, Hamzah Sheeraz. I mean, look, he knows what he brought to the table. We saw what he was able to do against Ammo Williams in a very, very good middleweight. He's obviously had a good close fight against Adames, but Barack, I feel like this is a new man in Hamzah Sheeraz. Like,
see, that's the thing, and that's why he's going to be dangerous. Because yes, we could look at the Adames fight and say, all right, he has a lot of holes. Maybe he can't beat Berlanga, but I think because of that performance, that's a chip on his shoulder now. So now he's going to go back and train real, real hard. Like Shakur was saying, I'm going to train hard. I'm going to train my behind. Or that's what he's saying right now. So I think Berlanga's just going to get the best Sheeraz there is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes, in a lot of cases, fighters need a close fight. They need negative press, which motivates them to be the better fighter. Sometimes they come back as the best version of themselves.
Was that an automatic weapon that Berlanga just had?
It looked like it. It looks like he's going to bring that to the table. Look, obviously, touching on Hamzah, he has a tall mountain to climb against Edgar Berlanga. But, you know, talking about Shakur, look, Shakur, I like what he said in the presser about, listen, I'm flattered by the comparison to the greats, but I don't let that get to my head. I need to show it in the ring and focus and work just as hard as I did if I was fighting my pro debut.
Yeah, I spoke to Shakur earlier, and he made me realize that he feels that he's a small 135 pounder. He didn't say it in that way, but he made me realize. But look, he doesn't look that small, but it doesn't matter. His heart is big. But just like Sheeraz and Berlanga, this guy Zepeda is here to fight, and he don't care. And this is the kind of guy that Shakur will need if he wants to prove the naysayers wrong.
Of course, this is a guy that's going to throw so many punches, probably more punches than Shakur has ever faced. And here's Shakur taunting Zepeda. He's ready to prove to the world that, hey, listen, I'm not just a defensive skill boxer. I'm an entertainer, and I'm trying to entertain everybody on July 12th here in New York City and Louis Armstrong Stadium. Barack, I love that venue. I love what His Excellency is doing at the ring. This is the Ring Magazine 3, Barack, all historic events, and this is going to be no different.
Ring Magazine 3.
Yeah, no doubt.
I like that. I think it's going to be different. You know, obviously, because you got Puello on the card, you got some real bangers on the card, so this is going to be something that's very, very exciting. But everybody's going to have to come with their A game. I like that Turki Alashek interrupted this whole conference and said that there's an eye. There's an eye, meaning, because he doesn't like to hide stuff. That's why I love him.
Yeah.
He don't like to hide, and we don't know who's going next. He's trying to tell you, if this guy wins, this is what we want. If Shakur wins, we want him with Tank. If he wins, we're fighting him in Mexico. And, you know, I love that. If Berlanga wins, we got big fights ahead of him. And if Shiraz wins, we could look at Canelo. So this is great.
I don't have a problem with that. No, fighters don't like to look past their current opponents, and that's their job,
but the promoter can.
But in boxing, we always complain about not having a schedule on what's next. So that's a great thing implemented in the sport. And joining us now, Ring Zone, Mike Coppinger.
What's up, Cop?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
How are you?
Thank you.
Good to have you on with us. Listen, Mike, we're talking about the Ring's historic events. Obviously, what we saw in London against Ben and Chris Eubank Jr., amazing, right? Times Square, just his historic venue in itself. And now we're at Louis Armstrong Stadium. Talk to me about the vision that His Excellency is showing.
Yeah, I think with this one, like he said, right, these are action fights, and it's not just Edgar Berlanga and Hamzah Sheeraz, and they talked a great game up there. Sheeraz really gave it back to him. I was impressed. But Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, and the two fights that weren't here today. I loved both fights. We have Subriel Matias, one of the best action fighters in all of boxing, against Alberto Puello. Obviously, a great matchup there. You have a boxer versus a puncher, pressure fighter, Matias, and the light heavyweight fight. David Morrell, first fight off of that loss to David Benavidez. He showed really well in that fight, and he's going to fight Iman Katayev, who's another puncher, fights with Artur Beterbiev in his camp, and I think it's going to be a great fight.
Of course, but what does it feel like working with Ring Magazine now?
Say again?
What does it feel like working with Ring Magazine now?
It's been great. It's been a pleasure to work for His Excellency and for the Ring Magazine. And again, I know that the fights on May 2nd weren't what we wanted, but we're doing our best here, and I think we're putting our best foot forward with different stages and different fights. And I think this is going to be the best card yet.
I think the only thing with that was that I thought it was going to be on all of the screens. I thought it was going to be on the big jumbotrons, and I thought that would have been so big for New York. So that's where it kind of failed right there for me. But as far as historic, it doesn't matter. It was still in Times Square. So to me, I loved it.
Right. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson. A lot of people are saying that this is probably going to be his toughest test. Look, he's been in there with some great fights. Oscar Valdez to unified 130-pound. He's fought real credible opponents and champions, but because of Zepeda's style, would you agree that maybe this is something he's never seen before with the volume of punching?
Absolutely. I think Zepeda's not only a better fighter than Oscar Valdez, but he's much fresher and he's a lot bigger. That fight was at 126 pounds with Valdez. This is at 135. Zepeda's a big guy, and I look at the volume he brings, the body punching he brings, and also the aggressiveness. And I know it's not a perfect comparison, but I look at that Floyd Mayweather-Marcos Maidana fight, and I think if William Zepeda can fight that style, cut the ring off, throw with volume, not easy against a guy like Shakur, obviously, to throw with volume, and make it an ugly fight on the inside, he can win this fight.
What do you say about what Eddie said on the podium there with, Shakur being at number 3 in the lightweights and Tank being at number 1, Keyshawn Davis being at number 2? What's your take on that?
I think we have to say Gervonta Davis, whether you like him or love him, he's clearly the best lightweight in the world as far as accomplishments goes in resume. Now, you can certainly argue that Shakur Stevenson should be 2 ahead of Keyshawn Davis. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I don't think you can argue that Gervonta Davis does not deserve his top spot.
Oh, and you're saying that because Shakur has accomplished a lot, but at 126 and 130
Absolutely.
and not lightweight, right?
135, Gervonta Davis has been there for years. I know he's coming off of that draw with Lamont Roach, but he didn't officially lose the fight. I think it's hard to drop him from that top spot. And they're going to have a rematch August 16th, so we'll see what happens there. That's after this fight, obviously. But you heard what Shakur Stevenson said. We want to see Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis, and he's going to have to get past Zepeda first.
Yeah. And that's one thing I like about His Excellency is that he already tells you what the future plans are. So do you think that that's a good thing in boxing, or just hiding it and keeping it a secret like they used to?
I think it's a great thing in boxing. You see all the success that Dana White and the UFC have had with fights leading to other fights. And I think it's good to have some sort of plan in place. Obviously, if the results don't go the way you think they're going to go, you can't just barrel through with those plans.
What I say about that is that we have to promote the fighters equally, sort of. You know what I mean? And don't just overlook the guys like Rolly or something like that. But I love that because it gives us something to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't think any one of us thought that Rolly was going to pull it off. I think a lot of people thought he would be very competitive.
Right.
But he pulled it off, and hats off to Rolly, and let's see what he does next, too.
Yeah, speaking of looking forward to, look, obviously those two matchups aren't the only one on the card. Let's look at the entire fight card here. Look, obviously Tsumi is making his return. No opponent yet, but David Morrell, look, you talked about it, Mike, his outing against Benavidez, very competitive fight, but he's fighting Katayev, who's a real puncher, really aggressive fighter, which makes for a great matchup. Obviously, Alberto Puello, who is a boxer but also likes to engage. We saw that against Gary Russell Jr., against Subriel Matias, who once was the boogeyman, right? I mean, he took that loss against Powell, but came back and won. Still, obviously, a very dangerous opponent. So that's going to be another barn burner. And obviously, Shakur Stevenson in a lightweight showdown, WBC, against Zepeda, and Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Shiraz in a title eliminator for the WC. Look, super entertaining card. I mean, from top to bottom. You don't want to miss any of those fights.
I think all of these are going to be entertaining, but I think more so it's kind of almost evenly matched. Like, I understand Shakur is one of the best in the world, but they're all dangerous fights that the A side can lose. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And again, we know that the fights on May 2nd didn't go. You live up to the hype with the action. I think this one can't disappoint.
No way.
Especially that Morrell-Katayev fight. If people haven't seen Katayev, like you said, he's a big puncher. He's rugged. That fight he had against Palacios on the undercard of, I think it was Tim Tszyu last time out, that was a hell of a fight. So I think Kataya people are going to be impressed by him. Obviously, Morrell's the favorite for a reason.
Right.
But I think this also continues that trend that we saw on May 2nd, where guys are coming off losses and they're going thrown right into the fire.
Mike, who would you say is the most likely to probably upset his opponent, upset the favorite?
I think I have to go Subriel Matias. I know Alberto Puello's in a really good form. We saw him against Sandor Martin, who's a tricky fighter. Matias, again, you said he was the boogeyman. He doesn't have that status anymore. But we've seen when he comes with the volume and he cuts the ring off, he's a bad man and he can punch too.
That was an easy question. That one could go either way. That was easy. But I think Matias, he was called the boogeyman a little bit too premature.
That's fair.
Give it some time. Give it some time. Let him really hurt people. Let him really get big names and then call him a boogeyman, right?
Yeah, and look, I think, and I'm guilty of this as well in boxing, but I think we overrate fighters, we underrate fighters, and Matias is probably not as good as we all said he was before, and he's definitely not as bad as people are saying he is now.
Right, that's the thing. Look, just because you don't look great in your last fight, you shouldn't go to the bottom of the totem pole, but he is still dangerous and deadly.
And this is what you're going to get every time with him. He will not stop. I spoke to him personally. He said, listen, I don't really care about too much boxing skill or ability. I want to stay on you every second of the fight. And most guys can't deal with that, Mike.
That's good and bad, but for the crowd, that's great. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you guys are both right. A lot of guys can't really deal with that pressure. You have to have physical strength, too, which Puello definitely has. Yeah. Certainly, no one was picking Paro. We see Paro outboxing Matias here. But Matias got his big shots in there, too. It wasn't like it was just a landslide. And I know Matias is hungry.
He was hurt. He was definfinely hurt. Yeah, but it was a little too late.
No, I mean, I think fights like this, Matias against Puello, is what's going to really warm the fans up. They're going to be excited here at Louis Armstrong Stadium. Well, I want to talk about what Edgar Berlanga, and it's funny we have him on the screen here. He was talking about Canelo already, rematch, right? Look, obviously, His Excellency is doing a great job in letting the fans know what's ahead, right? Like boxing is the only sport that doesn't have a schedule like other sports, so he's doing his best in order to do that. But the fighters are the ones that maybe shouldn't think too much ahead, right? And what's in front of them. He's already thinking rematch Canelo. Is that a mistake?
Yeah, and I also don't think anyone wants to see a rematch with him and Canelo. He definitely did better than anyone expected, certainly me, but that's not a fight I want to see. I want to see Berlanga against Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant might be fighting Jamal Charlo later this year. The winner of that fight, the loser of that fight, maybe even David Morrell at 175. Berlanga's a big guy. Yeah. I don't think Canelo is a fight that we're going to be seeing.
There are a lot of good fights at 168 for Berlanga. I agree with you.
I think Cop is right. Like, that's the thing. You can win here, beat Sheeraz, but that's not a name that probably can get you right back in talks with Canelo. I think, if he fights maybe the winner of Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo, then that right there, if he beats one of them, that's great.
And it's safe to say that this is, in my opinion, Edgar's biggest task, right? A Shiraz size, the way he's able to use the jab. He showed it against Ammo Williams. Very skilled fighter. I mean, he has his moments where maybe he'll lack a little bit, but it's safe to say that this is a tough test for Edgar Berlanga.
This is a coin flip fight. It's funny. I see a lot of people saying Berlanga's going to knock him out early. I see a lot of people saying that Shiraz is going to play with Berlanga. Yeah. And again, like we said earlier, this continues the trend. I know Shiraz didn't officially lose to Adames, but a lot of people thought he lost. It was a draw, and he's going right into a tough fight. And in his first fight at 168. So I love this fight. And I think it's a deserving main event. I know there's two main events, but I think this fight does deserve to go last.
I don't want to give it...
For the action's sake or what? Because Shakur accomplished so much, so you understand his argument.
Yeah, well, I think it's the action. Yeah. This is entertainment, and...
If that's the case, Perlo and Matisse maybe should be...
Yeah. I mean, what about what Hamzah Shiraz is going to have to deal with coming to New York City, fighting in Edgar's hometown? That's also a hurdle.
I think it's clear that Hamzah Shiraz is a mature guy. I don't think he's the kind of guy, just from talking to him, that's going to be rattled by this sort of thing. And I think he has a lot to prove, right? He's coming off of that, again, draw, but a lot of people think it's a loss. It looks like a loss to Carlos Adames. And he's a guy that's really been built up here to be a star. He has to win this fight.
Okay, but who do you think has the most pressure? You got Shiraz, who His Excellency is rooting for, basically wants you to win, so maybe you could fight Canelo. Or Berlanga, this is your hometown. Everybody here is expecting you to win.
I think Shiraz has the pressure because Berlanga, he already has the good feeling for himself that he faced Canelo and did better than people thought he would. Yeah. He has the bigger name right now, especially in New York and in the United States. I think Hamzah Shiraz, he wants to shake off that draw with Carlos Adames and prove that he is what everyone said he was.
Yeah. Also, with Shakur Stevenson, it seems like he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder, right?
Sure.
They complimented him, compared him to the greats. He said, listen, that's cool and all, but I want to show the people I'm still going to put the work I need to put in to show the people that I'm the best fighter in the world. He's also, him and Eddie, not too happy about the Ring Magazine's rankings. Are we going to get the version of Shakur that he says we're going to get, the best version of him?
I think he's going to be on his game like he always is, but we need action. And I'm not saying that's standing there and trade in exchange with a puncher like Zepeda and be stupid, but it's just committing to your punches a bit more. We can't have a repeat of May 2nd, right? We need action in that fight, and Zepeda's going to bring the action, and Shakur has promised to bring action this time, so I think we need to see that from Shakur.
Shakur has, look, I'm not comparing Padley to Zepeda, right? But he showed more offensive action than we've seen as of late.
There you go. You got to give him that.
But that was against Josh Padley.
It doesn't matter. It was offense.
Coming off a win.
And that's what we're trying to see.
Padley was coming off a win. He was a live dog.
Josh Padley is several levels below William Zepeda. Let's call a spade a spade. And that's no disrespect to Josh Padley. He took the fight on 2 days' notice. It's not Shakur's fault that Floyd Schofield pulled out.
Right.
And Shakur did get the stoppage, and he delivered. But on this stage, I want to see him.
Barack, and that's the thing about Shakur that I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. Like, he wanted the fight against Schofield, right? He's also petitioned for a lot of fights. He wanted to fight Pitbull Cruz at one point. He wanted those fights that people want to see and doesn't always get them. So he's a guy that wants the fights that the people want.
I agree with that. I don't think Shakur's scared of anybody. He's an incredible talent. People could say he's the most talented fighter in boxing, perhaps.
Right, but I'm saying that if you stop Herring and you beat up Oscar Valdez.
It's about Jamel Herring and Oscar Valdez.
No, listen to what I'm saying. You stop them and you beat up Valdez, right? And then you hurt your hand against a very, very good fighter, and you beat a very good fighter with one hand. It's not like you don't want to fight. It's that you couldn't throw both hands. That's all it was.
There was no broken hands. Again, maybe he had a hurt hand. I'm not saying he didn't, but the fight after that against Nanya, and also that was not the most exciting fight. So he's very outspoken.
But you got to win. It doesn't have to be exciting.
This is showbiz. Like Edgar Berlanga said, this is entertainment.
But you want to know if your fighter won, though. That's
the most important thing.
He dominates. He doesn't have close fights.
But if you want to be the biggest star, if you want to be on a star like Gervonta Davis, you have to bring the action like Gervonta Davis.
But at the end of the day, what's best? Win or be a star?
Both.
What's
I think being a star is best. This is showbiz.
No. Because if you don't win, you can't be a star.
You need to do both. Manny Pacquiao lost 8 times.
I get Mike's point.
But he won so many, though.
He did.
The biggest stage, he won.
Both guys are going to have an opportunity on July 12th to really, and obviously Shakur to show that. All right. Thanks, Mike, for joining us. Appreciate
Thanks,
the time,
guys.
man.
Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon. All right, DAZN is not only the global leader in boxing, it's also an official global broadcaster for the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, which will feature 32 of the world's top football clubs. Teams from Europe, Asia, and the Americas, Africa, and Oceanias will compete for the coveted Club World Championship title.
Greatness comes to DAZN this summer. The world's best players will be summoned together to decide the greatest club on earth.
Vinicius, great chance to score.
Goats will battle Wonder Kids. Fire will meet ice. From Boca to Bayern, PSG to Palmeiras, 32 clubs from across the globe will compete to be crowned
Rodrigo, what a strike that was.
world champion. And this summer, Haaland won't be watching from home, but you can on DAZN. In every country in the world. FIFA Club World Cup. Watch on DAZN from the 14th of June.
The big fights keep coming on DAZN. Richardson Hitchens is set to defend his IBF Super Lightweight Championship title against former unified champion George Kambosos Jr. on June 14th at the Theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Then the return of the problem child, Jake Paul, versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in Anaheim, June 28th. Then July 19th, a doubleheader. It's in Wembley Stadium. Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois for the rematch and for the undisputed heavyweight title. And on that same day, Bam Rodriguez making his return to the ring in for the first time in 2025, taking on Palomama Cafu in a unification fight in Dallas, Texas. Barack, I'm excited about Ring 3, July. I love the venue.
3, I love it.
I love it. I love where they changed the venue to. Everybody's going to have an amazing seat.
Yes.
That time, I do feel that Shakur has a chip on his shoulder. I do agree with Mike. I think this is probably going to be Shakur's toughest test, but I think he will prevail. Obviously, Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Shiraz. It's a toss-up fight. Look,
Edgar is the favorite going into this fight, I believe, but I think he has a tough test ahead of him. Yeah. I'm excited, but the entire card is going to be a phenomenal night of boxing.
Yeah, it's definitely a stacked card, but we're used to that with Ring right now. We're used to these big names on the card. But this particular card is different because everybody's in a dangerous fight. Yeah. Shakur's in a dangerous fight, arguably the best fight of his career because undefeated guy, 27 knockouts. He's just action-packed all night. And then when you talk about Shiraz, if you coming off of a draw that people say you lost, the next person has to pay for that. Yeah. And that's how he's coming into this. And then the pressure is His Excellency wants him to win. Yeah. You know, in order to get Canelo. So if I'm saying that's the guy that's in front of Canelo, I'm going to come hard. But Berlanga's like, this is my hometown. You hear what he says? This is my ish. Yeah, yeah. This is what he's saying. This is my stuff right here. I have to win. You know what it's like? Getting beat up in front of your mother? Well, you know what it's like. I don't know. But you know what it's like. That's freaking crazy.
It's never happened.
I'm joking. But Berlanga is going to come 100% because this is his hometown.
Yeah, but even before those two fights, the entire card, I love David Morrell coming back after the Benavidez fight. Obviously, Matias, he's trying to prove to the world I'm still one of the boogeymen in the division against Upway. Look, you have to be there from the very beginning. From Susumi on, because it's going to be an entire night of action-packed
boxing.
And
speaking of Susumi, he had a hard fight for his first fight, so you know it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. And what's to come? His Excellency's talking about these fights are very pivotal, like they're very important, and they're going to affect boxing in the next 6 to 8 months, next 12 months. And that's what you want. You want to know what's coming ahead.
The next fight is on the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm telling you, that's how His Excellency does it. He's crazy. Like, he'll have it anywhere.
I mean, look, he's talked about, fights in prisons. And
I love it.
All over the world.
I love it.
This is what the sport needs, this excitement. But it's not only about the venue. Not only about the venues, but also the matchups. Also coming up this weekend on DAZN Friday, ex-UFC fighter squares in the ring off against Darren Till. Faces Darren Stewart in a headline of Misfits 21 live from Derby, England. Then Saturday, a heavyweight rematch between Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen at the Copper Box Arena in London. Enjoy the hostilities. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.
Listen up. Let's have it. We know you've always got your eye on the prize. The championship belt. And why wouldn't you? You're a finely tuned, well-oiled boxing watching machine. Capable of consuming over 185 fights on DAZN every year.
We've gone big. We've gone global.
Churning through combinations, comebacks, and non-stop knockouts. With big fights every week, you're the best in the world. So go on, get that belt, champ. DAZN. Undisputed.